Hello, everybody. My name is Jay, and I'm with Alex. Hello, Alex.
Hello, Jay. Hello, everyone.
We're locked down, so we're making videos from, well, I'm in my bedroom. Where are you, Alex?
I'm in the office, my office, let's call it, and drying room.
Nice. Cool. All right, so we're going to answer a bunch of your questions from YouTube. Let's get started. The first question is from Aisha Khan. Yay, first comment, Aisha says, writing task 2 is the biggest hurdle for most like me. So could you please make essay evaluation easy and offer a discount in this pandemic for us?
Yes, and yes, our essay evaluation service is easy. It's built into the platform. So once you have an account on e2language.com, you can buy assessments. If you have a certain package, they're already included in your platform. So it's very, very simple. You don't need to email or download or anything like that. Discounts, we have discounts all the time. Once you sign up, you'll get emails regularly with $10 off here, $15 off there. So
yeah, you might want to follow us on Instagram or Facebook or one of those weird platforms. Okay, next question is from Kawe. Hello, please tell me about grammar in IELTS speaking. Should we pay attention to not make mistakes or make more complex sentences and grammar mindset? Is it possible to get an IELTS Band 9 with simple and accurate sentences? Thanks in advance. Over to you, Alex.
Okay, so you're talking there about two things, accuracy and range of grammar, and you do need to have both of those things to score well. Having said that, on test day, I wouldn't prioritize complex grammar over everything else. It is 25% of your score. If you look at the criteria, you do need to demonstrate some use of complex structures, but that just means, you know, a sentence with the word although, a sentence with the word while, a relative clause, which, that, who, that's enough for complex language. So as you prepare for the test, yeah, work on your grammar, but one of them is not more important than the other. The grammatical range and accuracy, both of those things.
I have a nice analogy for this. It's like juggling, right? Imagine you're juggling. How many criteria? Really, there are 4, but then there's grammatical range and accuracy. So there's more. It's like you're juggling, and when you're juggling, you can't just be concentrating on one of the balls. You need to do them all at the same time simultaneously. So that makes it tough.
Yeah.
Cool. You're a speaking examiner for many years, so you know this stuff. Ready? Next one.
Yep.
Rank Kashyap says, how to write dates in listening, because in the Cambridge practice book, sometimes the dates are in different forms. If the speaker speaks a date like 25th July, what is right form? 25th July or July 25th or 25 July?
Well, this is an easy one, and this is one area where IELTS is very generous. It really doesn't matter what you write for the date. They will accept pretty much everything. So you can write 25 July, July 25, 25th of July, if there's enough words in the word count. So all of them are viable answers. Don't worry too much about that stuff.
Nice, good stuff. Next one, Mr. Spectre asks, good evening, Jay and Alex. Does accent matter when taking IELTS? How about spelling some words like color, British English versus color? Okay, 2 questions here. Let's start with the accent one. Does accent matter?
No, accent doesn't matter. It's kind of hard to think about because, of course, sometimes your accent can interfere with your clarity of English.
Yes.
Which is a problem, but the fact that you have an accent doesn't matter. I mean, we have an Australian accent, you may have a Canadian accent, Indian accent, Japanese accent. The examiners are familiar with all of them. What you need to think about is my speech clear, and also is it as natural as I can make it? So am I using natural features of English pronunciation, which means things like connected speech, intonation, your voice has to go up and down, stress, word stress, sentence stress, those kind of things. But they're things that may not come naturally to everybody.
Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, accents are fine. Everyone has an accent. It's when that accent starts to interfere with this particular sound. For example, a lot of Indians have a trouble with the V sound, and they'll often make a W sound instead. That's a problem. That's a problem, because that's when the accent's fine, but when it interferes with the pronunciation like that, that's when it's a problem. Cool. All right. Second part of Mr. Spector's question was, how about spelling some words like color British English, OUR, or color American English? Is that considered a mistake?
No, it's not a mistake, and the tests will accept both spellings if it's in the listening, for example. When it comes to writing, the advice from IELTS is be consistent. So if you are using the American spelling, then you should use the American spelling all the way through. So center with an ER, organize with a ZE. But in my experience, it's not super important if somebody mixes it up. I wouldn't view that as a mistake necessarily. It's just good practice to choose one and go with it.
Okie dokie. Next question is from Manda 2002. Manda asks, how to generate ideas quickly in speaking?
How to generate ideas? It's usually a question people ask about writing. There's not a really big need to generate ideas really in the speaking test, but if you're worried about that, have a look at, we've got a downloadable PDF with 20 IELTS themes and speaking topics around those themes. That will probably give you some confidence so that you can deal with pretty much any question that comes up.
Yeah, I think in part 2, where you have to do the monologue, speak for 2 minutes on a specific little topic, I think the key there is not to just write down whatever, you get a minute to plan. I think really just write whatever first comes to your mind, because often you can get sort of stuck planning, and then it's like, okay, it's time to speak. And you're like, uh-oh, I'm not ready. So just, really be spontaneous, even make up stuff. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah, don't be afraid to squish a few different stories or people together or borrow from the movies or something. It's fine. You just want language to come out of your mouth.
Okay, next question is from Alex. This is Alex asks, do I have to write the symbols like a $ or a pound sign in the listening part, or is also valid to write dollars or pounds as words?
Either one is okay. Just carefully check the word count, although that's probably fine, one word and a number. Yeah, normally I would go with the symbol, and most of the time the symbol is already on the answer sheet, so you actually don't need to include it. But either one is fine. Just spell it correctly if you're going with the words.
Terrific. Next question from Sia Suman. Sia asks, how to improve and enhance vocabulary? Mostly I stuck in exam because of lack of vocabulary.
Okay.
I'm glad this is huge. It's important.
We have a video all about this, which we'll put in the link, about how to learn vocab, what vocab you should learn, why you should learn it. And also we've got a big resource library in our courses on E2 language called topic toolkits. And each of those are designed to build your vocab around specific themes. So, the very simple answer is read a lot and keep a vocab diary and flashcards. But if you want to dig into a little bit more, check out that video and check out the topic toolkits too.
I also recommend e2school.com test ready course. There's a course that's actually written and built by Alex and Siley, and it helps you to build your topic specific vocabulary, technology, education, all those weird topics that you'll get in IELTS. So
yeah, very IELTS-y.
Helpful, great course. Next question is from Rasuljan Mansurov. Sounds like a character from a Dostoevsky novel. They have names that are very difficult to pronounce. Sorry, Rasuljan. Hello, could you tell me if we should write listening answers in capital letters in the computer-delivered IELTS?
No, you should not.
Okay, good, easy, rock and roll. Next one, Akshi Sachdeva asks, why most of students score 6.5 in general writing? Is this any kind of trap?
Yeah.
Feels like it.
Big question. It's not a trap. However, it is really hard to score 7 because you have to get 7 in all 4 criteria. So that is the reason why so many people score 6, because you might be getting 7, 7, 7, 6 in something. So it could be 6 in grammar, it could be 6 in task response, or maybe coherence and cohesion. So why are you getting 6? You've got to look to band 6, band 7, look at those criteria. Inside the course, we have a video all about the marking criteria, which shows those danger zones. So one of them, for example, is mechanical linking. A lot of people use mechanical linking when they're writing. They've learnt to use it, and it's actually a feature of band 6. So you might be thinking you're doing the right thing, but actually you are meeting the criteria for 6 and not for 7 or 8. So have a look at the criteria in band 6. Check out that video in the writing task 2 section of the course.
Yeah.
Feels like a trap. I know.
Sorry?
It does feel like a trap. I know.
It does feel like a trap. I'll just explain something that here, which is important. If you think about a bell curve, right? If you think about people's heights, okay, there are very few people who are very, very short, like very short, and there are very few people who are very, very tall. Most people are around the sort of 5'5" mark, right? That's the bell curve. And it's the same thing with language. Most people sort of get to about the 6 level in IELTS, and then it's getting towards the 7, 8s, and 9s, like tiny number of people who can get 9s. So it really just is a numbers game in many ways.
Yeah, and it's also, yeah, a lot of research goes into it. I don't want to say that they're always right with their scores, but, you know, some people would tell me, I've scored 6.5 5 times in a row. Well, then that to me indicates, well, that's probably what your level is. You are a 6.5 and the test is proving it to you. So you've got to change something. There's a reason why you're scoring that. It's not that's the end of it. You're never going to score higher, but clearly there's some progress that needs to be made. So find out why you're scoring 6.5. You're scoring 6 in something. Find out what it is and improve that, and then you'll get a 7.
That's why feedback from one of us is so critical. One of us at E2 Language will look at your essay, show you what you're possibly doing wrong, which could be holding you at that level.
Yeah.
Alrighty, next up is Rank Kashyap. Rank asks, in listening, 0, 0, and alphabet O are the same?
Just looking at my keyboard, they're close. I think their question there is about perhaps in computer delivered IELTS, does it register?
Oh yeah, be careful. Like if you're writing a number, don't use the O from the letters. Use the 0 from the numbers.
Yeah, I think that's the safest bet.
Yeah, safe. It's a good question, but yes. Karan Dutt asks, could you please elaborate about cohesion and coherence in task 2? How to give link central main points of the idea in the paragraph, even in contrast. Also, it would be great helpful.
Mm-hmm. There's a few things in that question. Definitely, so coherence and cohesion, I'll recommend that same video we have about writing task 2 criteria. What is it? How do you avoid scoring 5 or 6? So it's a matter of organization. So are your paragraphs organized logically? Have you used paragraphs, first of all? Do they follow the agreed upon structure that we use in English? There are 2 different structures you can choose from. How to give the central or main point, that comes down again to structure, single idea paragraph or double idea paragraph. It differs in where your points will come. Linking words, I think, is the other question, I guess, even in contrast also.
Oh, I see.
Not too many, not too few. Don't use them mechanically.
I really want to hammer home that point. It's so critical. A lot of people go into these essays and they're like, blah, blah, blah. However, therefore, as a result, you know, it's littered with all of these discourse markers. And a lot of teachers, unfortunately, tell students to do this. It's wrong, okay? Not too many, not too few. Done elegantly is the way you want to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we practice that all the time in live classes. I'd say pretty much every week we mention it, and a couple of weeks we really focus on it in our classes. So I'm not sure if this is the same Karan that's in our live classes, but I imagine that question has already been answered there.
Cool. Next question is from Jagnandan Singh. How to identify whether a idiom or phrase is informal or formal? Oh, yeah, this is interesting. Yeah. Because there are sort of academic phrases, and then
Yeah.
I guess sorry, I'll have a go at this one, which is, you know, an idiom is typically something spoken. So really, you know, idioms that you will use in your speaking test that come out naturally, that pop out naturally in context, not ones that you've memorized and right, in this speaking test, I'm going to use these 4 idioms. Don't do that because it's not going to end well. Yeah, use those sort of idioms, spoken idioms in your speaking test. Academic phrases like, you know, as a result or according to, these aren't really considered idioms per se, and they could be and should be used in your writing. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you know? Yeah, I think it's a matter of just reading widely.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you see it in an academic text or a newspaper article, then it's suitable to use in your own writing. Yeah, good question. I'll have to investigate.
Yeah, it is a good question. Next question. Nashwa Ibaid says, I felt confused about your site. I don't know how I should begin. What is the steps? I need a regulated, clear plan. I am in intermediate level. Fair enough. Can I have a go at this one?
Okay.
We've got these new member welcomes that happen once a week. That's a great place to start. It's like a live class. And what happens is the teacher will actually be screen sharing the platform and taking you through how you sign up for live classes, how you submit writing assessments, you know, how you should be using the practice material, etc. So that's probably the best place to start. There's also a how to use video in the top right-hand corner of the dashboard. Click that. I think I'm the presenter there. I talk you through the platform. But it's pretty intuitive. I would say you can't break it. Get in there, click around, see how you go.
Yeah, same advice from me. The new member welcome is the place to start, where you can also get your questions answered. And really the idea of the platform is very flexible. If you want to study all by yourself, there's plenty of stuff to do. If you want to study with us in the live classes, you can do that. If you want to study one-on-one with a tutor, you can do that as well. So everything is there. Just come to that session and we'll teach you how to find it.
Nice. Okie dokie. Muammar Gaddafi Ashan. That's a nice name. Just a simple question, Alex. I'm still trying to manage my time in the writing test. Kindly give me some suggestions.
Well, in our methods, we suggest basically, so for task 2, 4 minutes planning, analyzing, 32 minutes writing, 4 minutes checking. Kind of use that as your guide. If you're really struggling with the time management, I would say just forget about that for the moment and focus on the craft of writing. So make sure you know it should be automatic. How do I write the intro? How do I construct a paragraph? Those kind of things with practice become faster and easier. You don't need to think too much about what's the next sentence. Once you learn the paragraph structures, the intro structures, all of that becomes less demanding on your energy, and you can just focus on writing well and using good ideas. So yeah, obviously you've got to practice with the timer on as your test is coming up, but don't begin your test preparation with the timer going and stressing yourself out. You know, give yourself time to learn how to write well, and then write.
Great point. I totally agree with that. I think the other thing is planning can actually save you time. It's, you know, you spend time at the beginning to save time for, you know, you spend 1 minute to give your, you know, or maybe 2 or 3 minutes realistically, and then it'll actually allow you to finish more quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? Parakram Singh has 2 questions. First question, I was proficient in speaking at my first attempt, but now I fumble and think a lot before speaking. It seems I have forgotten to speak English. I don't know how to gain back the confidence.
Oh, I know that feeling. You know, I think we've talked about this before, Jay, that sometimes the more test preparation you do, the more someone's confidence can drop and they start to second guess everything. And rather than answer the essay question, it becomes this, I don't know, like an obsessive worry about my ideas and the things like the capital letters, those kind of little worries overwhelm you. I think try to just see this as a discussion with another person in the speaking test. Yeah, obviously you've got the skills, you've done it before, you're just stressed, you're overthinking it. You need to, turn that energy into positivity and enthusiasm on test day. Try to smile, try to feel happy, try to be positive, and just talk as much as you can. I have heard that a lot.
I like that idea of seeing it as a discussion between two people. And really, when it comes to the crunch time on test day, you have to put all your preparation aside actually and just concentrate on what the person's asking you to do, and you're responding appropriately, just like you would in real life. But we hear you and we feel for you, Parakram. It can be quite intense. Actually, just on that, we just released a podcast a few days ago, which is a great podcast. I got to speak to a performance psychologist about how to prepare for your test psychologically before your test, and then how you should deal with your test on test day. Especially if you're suffering from anxiety and nervousness, which is completely natural, it's going to happen. You should listen to that podcast. So you can search E2 Talks on your favorite podcasting channel platform. Number 2, question 2 from Parakram. I'm trying hard to improve my writing. For that, I am learning new words, but when the time comes to write an essay or letter, I could never use those vocabulary. What should I do?
So I would ask you, Parakram, how are you learning that vocab? I imagine you're probably writing it down. Maybe you have the meaning next to it. Maybe you've got flashcards. So you do know that word if you see it in a reading text, or maybe if you hear it, you'll recognize it. But you just got to take it that next step into productive use. Is that the word?
Yes.
So you're not going to write that word
Thinking or writing it
on test day. Yeah. So you need to force yourself, write some sentences today with those words. Write a couple of simple personal sentences, read them out loud, read them into your phone, listen back. So you're forcing the language out of your hand and out of your mouth. You know what it's like when you hear a new word or you hear a new concept. You don't naturally automatically just start producing it. You've got to fake it till you make it.
Nice. Or learn it till you earn it. Sorry.
Learn it till you earn it.
Okay, next question from Noura Fatima Alam. How can I get 9 in IELTS exam? Wow, that's the question. That's the ultimate question. I'm a student. I want to go abroad for higher education. First of all, you won't need to get a 9. So you can flip that 9 upside down. I think you might be able to get a 6 and still go abroad for higher education. But let me tell my story and your story about trying to get a 9. Alex, or I tell both. Alex and I both tried to get straight 9s on our IELTS tests, and we failed, didn't we? We did for reading, listening, and speaking, and the highest we both got was 8.5 for writing.
Yeah.
So
I still haven't got that 9 in writing.
Yeah. I've only ever seen one person with a 9 in writing. Actually, she was a native speaker. She was from Ireland. I think she was a medical doctor. And she got a 9 in writing, and I was like, "Whoa, okay."
Yeah, I think I'm the same. I've just had one person.
That's great. That's really
infuriating for us poor English teachers and IELTS examiner in the past. But yeah, I sort of understand it. There's between 8 and 9, it's very delicate up that end.
Yeah. Okay, next question is from Cat Bat. Cat Bat. I want to speak with native English speakers for improving my English speaking ability. How can I do that? Any specific site or app that can help me? What about the small group classes, Alex?
Yeah, I was going to say that. We have a little, kind of a new thing on E2 where you can have a class with up to 5 students and 1 teacher with your cameras and microphones on. And those classes you work on either speaking or writing. You can book the class that you want. So that's a really good opportunity to practice speaking a little less intense. Of course, we have one-on-one tutorials as well, but this is another option where you've got your classmates around you. Some people don't want to have full-on one-on-one. But we do have those options on the site. So 1-on-1 with the expert teacher or 5-on-1 with other classmates as well.
Yeah, those small group classes are excellent.
Yeah, they're really fun, and you get a lot of feedback and follow-up feedback too.
Great. Next question is from Chitra. Chitra asks, "You are my best teacher in writing. Thank you, sir."
Oh, I think you mean ma'am.
I totally depended on us. There we go.
That's nice.
Thank you, Chitra. Appreciate it. We really love the nice comments, actually. So please do leave lovely comments because it helps to motivate and encourage us to continue doing what we're doing. It's very nice to read them. Sometimes I lie in bed and read them before I go to sleep. Oh, isn't that nice? Harry the Platypus asks,
that's
when
the best name of the day. Great.
When to scan, skim, and to just read the whole thing normally? It's a good question.
Very good question. And it depends on the question type. There are really two strategies when it comes to reading. You can find them both on our YouTube and also in our live classes as well. But yeah, it depends on what type of question accompanies the text. I'll give you one example. If you see headings match, then you should read the whole thing, but don't just read the whole thing. You read it piece by piece. But you go from the text back to the questions. Sounds confusing? Just join the live class. It's really simple, very effective.
Yeah. Different reading strategies are important. You sort of do them naturally. I think people just do them naturally, but it's quite nice in our live classes because they start to become much more conscious and you start to do them as a strategy, not something that you sort of didn't know you were already doing.
Yeah, and I think also there's a tendency for people to teach a certain strategy, maybe that was in a book, but it actually is not that effective. So the traditional reading strategies for me, they don't really work. So we teach based on what works for us, and we also encourage the students, don't use it if you're not getting finished, if you're not finishing on time, if you're not finding the answers, try this other strategy instead. There's another way to go about it. You don't have to keep doing something if it's not working for you.
Yeah. Abdullah asks, is there any type of break between the 3 sections in a computer delivered test? Alex?
No, there's no break, but if you're, obviously don't go during the listening section, but when the reading section starts and in the writing section, if you're quick, you can run out and go to the toilet and come back. But they have a cut-off time. I think 10 minutes before the end, you're not allowed to leave the room, something like that.
That's right. Yeah. So definitely don't go in the listening section because that'll be the end of that. All right. Oh, Harry the Platypus is back. What is the most important factor when taking the speaking test?
Meeting the 4 criteria.
Yeah, I agree.
There are 4 things you need to do.
Just quickly, what are they again?
There's fluency and coherence, so you're speaking easily, naturally, makes sense, links together. Lexical resource, that's your vocab. Grammatical range and accuracy, grammar, and pronunciation is the 4th one.
Cool. Yeah, that's the most important. Those 4 things. Critical. One Mars back again. All right. Would you please tell us how to generate ideas quickly in writing task 1? Because I spend a lot of time just thinking it's ideas.
Task 1?
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is academic or general, but
okay, maybe general, the letter.
You have to be quite creative in general in writing task 1. Writing a letter to somebody, you have to just make up a story, basically, don't you?
Yeah. And same just with the speaking, just decide on something quickly. You've got those bullet points in the letter, so just for each one to scribble something down to answer it. So it might be, you have to tell your landlord what's wrong with the apartment. So just write down the roof's leaking and the fridge stopped working. Then the next bullet point, just something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Cool. Next, we're getting through these. All right. This one's from Mukesh Agi, who asks, "Hi, Jay and Alex. Thank you for being great teachers. Can you you need to work on your spelling, Mukesh. Can you explain if we have to use politically correct language for IELTS writing task 2? Is it better to call fat person big bone or gravitationally disadvantaged?" Well, this is an interesting question because language is always changing and evolving, and and especially recently there are quite significant changes to the language that are considered politically correct, especially pronouns, use of pronouns, and also uses of titles like Mr., Miss. You can also use MX for someone who doesn't want to be identified as a female in female. Yes. Anyway, to be honest, I would put all that aside because the answer examiners are not going to pay too much attention to that sort of stuff. That's fine. It's interesting social phenomena, but for you, just use pronouns as you normally would. And if you're talking about somebody who's fat, a more formal term would be obese. Yeah? Is that actually true? Maybe that's not accurate.
Overweight?
Overweight, that's nice. Not gravitationally disadvantaged. I like that one though. That's cool.
Very cute.
Shubham asks, does academic IELTS have questions related to your field of work? I'm preparing for a hospitality job. Does that make my IELTS any different from others?
Oh, unfortunately not. The IELTS is very broad. It encompasses everybody. So no, you won't have a particular set of questions for you. The only difference in IELTS is there's academic IELTS, people who are going to higher education, usually university, and there's general IELTS, which is for usually migration or work purposes. And just in terms of the content in the reading, it's a little bit different. The writing task one is different, but that's all.
Yeah, there is another test. If you're a medical professional, you might want to consider taking the OET medical English test because that is actually profession specific for doctors, nurses, physios, etc. But unfortunately not for hospitality. You know what? It would be great to have profession specific tests for each profession. It'd be amazing, but not yet. All right, Jangali asks, hello, I wonder how to improve the writing skills.
Huge question. You need to write, you need to learn what IELTS wants from you in the writing test. You need to get feedback. I mean, the first thing is you need to write. If you want to improve writing, you have to write. So join our live classes to do that as a group and with the teacher telling you exactly what to do. I think that's a good way to start if you don't know where to begin.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also recommend e2school.com here, especially if you're sort of focusing on, you need help with those more fundamental or basic skills like grammar, vocab, or for speaking pronunciation. e2school.com will help you there. Okie dokie, let's keep going. Het asks, yes, I have a question. The Ppf method, I'm pretty sure Het means PPF, like past, present, future technique, does not seem useful in describing one thing. Can you help and show us how to use it in different types of questions? This is my beloved method, so I better talk about it.
Over to you.
Over to me. Okay, so the Ppf method is a method that you can use when you're doing your speaking part 2. What it is you tell a story about the past, one about the present, one about the future. And let's say you get a question card that says, describe a gift that somebody gave to you, right? Yes, the question task says, or the little task card says a gift, but it doesn't really matter if you talk about multiple gifts. You're not actually judged or graded on your ability to talk about the specific thing. You have to talk about the specific thing, but you're not graded on that. So what I would do is talk about a gift that I received when I was very young. I got this plastic handgun thing when I was a kid. Then I would talk about something that's a gift that I've received recently, okay? And of course, when I'm talking about my past, I'm going to be using past tense verbs. When I'm talking about recent past, I'll be using present perfect. I'll talk about this gift of my new watch that I got recently. I'll just make it up. Then I'll talk about a story about the future, what I would like to get as a gift in the future. You know, maybe I would like a new Maserati in the future as a gift. That will push my language into modal verbs and future tense of different varieties. So yes, you have to bend the rules a little bit to use that technique, and it works wonders, but you have to practice it. Kanta asks, is it good practice to write all answers in reading and listening in capital letters? Let's start with that one.
On the paper delivered test, you can do that. you can write all in capital letters. On the computer delivered test, you shouldn't do that.
Okay, easy. And second question from Kunta, is it fine if we cover all possible points in writing task 2 without deep explanation, reasoning and examples? Will this lose score?
Yes, it will lose scores. It will lose points. You are marked not on your number of ideas, but the development of those ideas. So it is better to have 2 ideas that are fully developed rather than 4 ideas that are not. So that's part of the criteria. That's something else that we focus on quite a lot in our classes.
Yeah.
Idea development. Yeah, very important.
Yeah. Idea development, expanding out that idea with reasons and examples is super important. Okie dokie. Unique Style asks, how to improve speaking at home? Small group classes?
Do you talk to yourself much when you're at home on your own, Jake?
Oh, of course not. I never do crazy stuff like that.
Well, I think that could be a good thing. I mean, if you're at home offline, just talk to the pot plant, talk to the mirror. But obviously, Unique Style, you've got a computer, you've got the internet, so you can join us in our speaking classes. We have a live speaking class once or twice a week. We have those small group classes where you can speak to people all around the world, including your teacher. We have tutorials as well. So just because you're at home doesn't mean that you are disconnected.
Yeah, nice. IELTS speaking part 2, which I think is the hardest bit. That lends itself to just, recording yourself on your phone, listening back to yourself. That requires practice. That's a tough one.
Yeah, listening to yourself is painful, but super effective. You catch all those bad habits that you have and you can eliminate them really quickly.
Yeah. Okie dokie, let's keep going. Amber asks, should we give computer delivered or paper delivered IELTS in this pandemic? Can I answer this one? Because I just think the computer delivered IELTS test is it's just far better than the paper-based test. I just find it more relaxed. I find it's not easier in the sense that the format and the questions are still difficult, but just the medium of the computer for the writing, for typing an essay rather than handwriting is just so much easier. So, and during the pandemic, if you're concerned about safety and stuff, all of the testing centers are taking lots of precautionary measures. So I wouldn't be too worried about that, but just in terms of, an easier test or an easier medium, I'd say the computer-based test for sure. Do you like the computer-based test better?
Yeah, I think a lot of it also is the number of people. I'm not sure if this is a global truth, but definitely in the Melbourne centres, what was it, 24 people maximum, I think, in that.
Nice small size, yeah.
Yeah, whereas some of the bigger places, like I think you went to the exhibition building, I used to examine at a paper-based place, and there are hundreds and hundreds of people, and just that in itself is quite stressful and noisy. I agree. So yeah, I prefer computer delivered if it's available.
Yeah, I remember doing one. I think there were about 600 people taking the test, and you have to line up for a long time. Look at that. Do the computer-based test. Okay, that's probably enough. Let's stop there. That's probably enough questions for now. Any last-minute tips, Alex?
I think that's probably enough information, but if you guys have more questions, you can put them underneath this video and we'll continue to answer them in upcoming videos.
I like this. We might even do another one of these videos very shortly. Cool. See you soon.
Bye.